I'll probably never understand the argument that a game gets better later. So you're telling me I should stick around and wait for the magical point where everything gets better? If anything, when you're presenting yourself, wouldn't it be better to put your best foot forward? And not to mention, competing for a spot in an already saturated genre like gacha games is already a nightmare in and of itself. With all that being said, no, I don't suggest you play Wuthering Waves. And that's it for me. Alright guys, let's pack it up. Thank you very much for watching. I'm just kidding. But seriously, I wonder why the devs of Wuthering Waves even decided to call it what it is. They could have just named it Genshin Impact for all the care they actually dedicated to not make it look like Genshin Impact. Come to think of it, yeah, this is par for the course when the game came from Kuro Games, a developer and publisher based in China. So what the hell is Wuthering Waves then? It's a free-to-play action role-playing game with gacha elements, aka a game that exists only to sell you 3D hot anime girls. And boys, I don't discriminate. And if that sounds familiar, it's mostly because I made the same joke about Arknights Enfield and mixed with a gacha game where you get cute anime girls. Or guys, I don't discriminate. And because if this game can recycle elements from Genshin Impact, I can recycle jokes too. But what about the story, I hear you ask? So you wake up from a dream that showed off a hot anime babe doing some magical bullshit that rivals Doctor Strange in the mirror dimension. And upon waking up, you meet two more hot anime babes. One that speaks shyly but cares a lot, and one that's energetic and talks a lot. And oh boy, for the entirety of my playthrough, this is literally their one and only personality, and hearing them any more than I have to makes me want to put a cheese grater next to my ears and literally grate my ears off.
This is the statue of Jue, the sentinel in Zhenzhou, in the shape of a long.
Yeah, she was super energetic, handled a super big TD, way more spirited than me.
After a few more meters of walking around, you meet yet another hot anime babe, and then another, and then another. You get the gist. It's like one advertisement after another. But seriously, if you really must know what the game is about, then this is it. Listen up. It's set in a futuristic post-apocalyptic world after a calamity called the Lament wiped out most of humanity and caused unknown beings and monsters called tacit discords to appear. Humanity adapted and over time rebuilt civilization. The story follows Rover, who has awoken from a deep slumber and sets out to explore the world. It's a pretty nice synopsis. The problem is, when the characters try and talk to you about the world, the characters keep throwing in-universe jargon while speaking to you directly and acting like you already read the 10,000 word Wikipedia synopsis and watched an hour-long explanation video made by Vati Vidya.
The wind has brought us a warning. The etheric sea is converging. It seems a new tacit field is taking shape.
Zhenzhou is the safest place around here. The resonance nexus provides coverage for the whole city. Besides, we've got a protective barrier and strong fortifications.
Some of the jargon you could infer the meaning to, but most if not all of it are just science mumbo jumbo, getting thrown around like it's an episode of CSI Miami.
Can I have a grid, please? C6 enlarge, please. Zoom times 4.
And if that's supposed to be impressive, I can easily do one on my own.
Doctor, the increasing amount of creatine found in the patient's bloodstream indicates a decline in kidney function. I think we should refer this patient to a nephrologist stat.
I concur. Please refer the patient to Dr. House. We're gonna need a consult. Point is, if you're gonna throw dialogue at the player, it would be nice to even know what the fuck is being asked from the player. Otherwise, it already fails to communicate the very things you want to be established early on in the game. And the only thing going for this game is the combat. And I'm surprised that it took this long for games of the Genshin Impact lookalike genre to realize that if you're gonna have an action game, you might as well put a little bit more control options for your character. It's surprising because Genshin Impact literally ripped off some elements from Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, but managed to not rip off the important parts, such as the combat, but I digress. This game features a dodge button that's binded to a stamina wheel straight out of Breath of the Wild. You can easily dodge twice in a short amount of time, and this provides a definite iframe when dodging, and the game gives you proper feedback when doing a well-timed dodge and parry. While other games of this franchise keep copying each other's homework, some games more so than others, Wuthering Waves managed to pick up something unique on its way to release. Well, it's not really that unique. Mega Man did it years ago, but anyway, the ecosystem gives you the opportunity to absorb enemy skills or abilities and use it anytime at your disposal. All you need to do is bring down an enemy, and if you get a prompt to absorb them, you can then absorb your enemies. It's probably the only unique thing I've seen this game do when you compare it to all other games in this genre. And about the character or account progression, you get your standard character leveling, gear leveling, and character weapon lottery that is pretty much copy-pasted from Genshin Impact, so your mileage may definitely vary in terms of speed of progression just because you will be tied down to how lucky you are. And if you're going to ask me about the endgame, you can go ahead and install it yourself and torture yourself to reach the endgame, and then you can come back here and tell us instead what the endgame is like down in the comments. So with everything being bad, there must be something good in it, like the characters, right? Sorry to burst your bubble, but I'd say the characters here look good in the same way that the characters in Genshin Impact look good. Different, yes, but they're all the same.
Same, but different. But still same.
Characters in this game have this very uninspired and bland look, with a design language that heavily resembles Genshin Impact. So if you're looking for more Genshin Impact, then you might be the one who might actually tolerate this game despite its flaws. So let's move on to my closing thoughts about this game. Aside from the things that I've already said about the game also suffers from audio cutoffs that start whenever another scene starts in some places.
If you want to be a hero like the Jinjo Speedster, you gotta master the... If you want to be a hero...
Some lines of dialogue repeat when I hit the menu button while the dialogue is still ongoing.
Now, the hatred and pain is so strong in this place. And now, the hatred and pain is so strong in this place.
And a few more bugs. Not to mention, the game has really bad voice acting.
Are you alright? Do you feel any discomfort? We're too far away. Perhaps she can't hear us.
It doesn't really rival I should have been the one to fill her dark soul with light.
I should have saved you. I should have been the one to fill your dark soul with light!
And no, this isn't happening.
Iris! 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 Ah! No, this isn't happening! There's no reason for me to go on. What? What am I fighting for?
But a game with this amount of dialogue in it should have at least a decent level of dialogue and voice acting. With the apparent lack of originality and soullessness that this game reeks of, I find it really hard to play and recommend. Time is a precious commodity in our lives after all, and I strongly believe you shouldn't be wasting your time on this game, but if you're a really big fan of Genshin Impact and gacha games in general that you're looking for more of the same, you can certainly give Wuthering Waves a try, but you're really going to have to forgive the game for a lot of its shortcomings. Thank you very much for watching, and special thanks to all my patrons. Until next time.